SRM Institute of Science and Technology. Learn, leap, and lead.
Yes, sir. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I am Prince Frederick, Civic Affairs Editor and Editor, Opportunities in the Hindu. Let me now welcome the panelists, and I'll let you know why they're here. Welcome Professor A. Vinay Kumar. Professor A. Vinay Kumar serves as the Pro Vice Chancellor for the Faculty of Science and Humanities and Faculty of Management at SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Kattankulathur. Before joining SRMIST, he was a distinguished professor of finance at IIM Lucknow and also held the position of director at IMS University, Bengaluru. Notably, under his leadership, IMS ranked among India Today's top 20 institutes for 2 consecutive years. Welcome, Professor Vinay Kumar.
Thank you.
And we have Professor Deepa Sethi. Professor Deepa Sethi is Professor of Communication serving at IIM Kozhikode as the Executive Chair of GLOBE, driving global linkages, outreach, branding, and evaluation. She has been trained at Harvard Business School and Harvard University. Her books, Impactful Communication and The Culture Iceberg, are widely acclaimed. Welcome, Professor Deepa Sethi.
Thank you.
And we have Dr. A. Duraiswamy. Dr. A. Duraiswamy is Dean, Faculty of Science and Humanities, SRM Institute of Science and Technology. He taught economics and econometrics since 1990 at Madras Christian College, Chennai. Retired as Head of the Department of Economics and Dean of Humanities, MCC. He has been, and he retired as Head of Department of Economics and Dean of Humanities, MCC. He has been adjudged the best teacher of economics in Tamil Nadu for 2020 by Malcolm Elizabeth Adi Seshaya Trust, Chennai. He has received the Senior Economist Award at the 40th Annual Conference of Association of Economists of Tamil Nadu. Welcome, Dr. A. Duraiswamy.
Thank you.
And then we have Mr. Kamal Karanth. Kamal is the co-founder of Expeno, which helps MNCs set up their greenfield tech centers in India. Before turning an entrepreneur, Kamal had 2 decades of career in corporates, both in MNCs and with entrepreneurial settings. He has been a columnist for many publications. Kamal anchors 2 podcasts, Workplace Dynamics and GCC Talent. Now let's get to business. And I think we got to think of this panel discussion as we would a T20 match, particularly the power play. We have very limited time. I think we have just 30 minutes, I think. And we need to get 2 rounds of questions in that short span of time. So, I mean, this is something, in an earlier discussion, I told the panelists that, we need to be to the point. So each answer should not be longer than 3 minutes. It's like, think of 2-minute Maggi noodles. I think it's slightly longer than that, kind of 3 minutes. So that's how it's going to be. Yeah, here goes. So I would want Professor Vinay Kumar to take the first question. So I would like to just, put this in context. Earlier, careers in India had 3 options. There were 3 options when it came to careers in India. One option was engineering, option 2 was medicine, and option 3 was what will relatives say. So in option 3 was subsumed what you call humanities and sciences. And I'm talking about the BAs, BScs, MAs and MScs. So we were looking in terms of binaries like professional courses versus the rest. Not anymore. Now you have so many unconventional careers. We also have a situation where doctors are turning to an offbeat career. They want to become content creators and all that. And in fact, many a time, kind of their passion eclipses their day job. They are better at this and all that, and in fact, they go into it full time. So that is the context, Professor Vinay Kumar. I would like to know now that unconventional careers are becoming common. In fact, they are they're opening real opportunities, real money, real impact. Could you tell us how academia is changing its strides to be responsive to the unusual demands of today's job market? When I say job market, I'm talking about those unusual careers.
Prince, firstly, thank you for making me part of the discussion. And I particularly like the introduction that, it's better to keep things in time, and, precise answers are much better. Right? So I'd like to be as precise as possible. Now, Deep, you're right, actually. So there were 2 major career pathways, engineering, and within engineering, it was computer science. And medicine, of course, is like, the long drawn study, this thing, grueling kind of this thing, and then thereafter you become a doctor. And you had all these specialties. Now, the other careers were like, law had its own this thing, people used to get into law if they were unable to get into some other career, something like that. And then within law, you see a lot of people became criminal lawyers and advocates who were actually getting into criminal kind of this thing because there were the other specialities were not so popular in it. For instance, within corporate law, disputes, arbitration and things like that. Similarly, in humanities, if you studied English, for instance, you would gradually become a PhD and then start teaching. Teaching much of all the sciences. If you have done your MSc, ultimately the people used to take up careers in teaching. Now the situation has changed. The situation has changed because the economic dynamics have changed. Once we became a $4 trillion economy, and manufacturing taking shape in a certain way, we didn't have manufacturing for a very long time, and now there are a lot of manufacturing companies that are sprouting out. A lot of startups are getting seriously into technology innovation and coming up with various products, not just for India, for the rest of the world. So the careers basically depend on the type of economic activity. The more deep you have the type of economic activity, the deeper will be the career opportunities. So we have a situation where now anybody can take up entrepreneurship as a career opportunity because it is possible to get funding for the ideas that you have. Earlier, it was very difficult to get funding. Now you have various avenues to actually experiment and fail fast and things like that, and then discover, come up with a better product, and so on and so forth. Similarly, within humanities, the education has become multidisciplinary. There are multiple career opportunities for even a person who has done psychology or maybe English. English people now can become content writers for various websites and create impactful writing. Okay, and so there are many opportunities now, and also career itself has become a sort of a debate for everybody who have a career already. For instance, can I actually rediscover my passion? Okay, an engineer who was working for a consulting firm suddenly becomes a musician, discovers their passion and converts and pivots into a different career. And that is happening because it is possible to make a reasonably, high quality living by switching careers. And that is the landscape that we're talking about. So uh, obviously, it is important that when you train the new generation, for skills, it has to be multidisciplinary skills.
In fact, actually, the current generation also, they are exposed to a lot of information. And back, I mean, 20 years ago or 30 years ago and all that, the options were fewer. As in, like, so it was easy for people to make up their mind. And now they're exposed to a lot of things and they are multifaceted from the cradle because of information, uh, explosion. So now I would like to go to Mr. Kamal Karanth. And this is something, we've discussed earlier. Kamal Karanth and I go back a long way. We just interact a lot, for stories and all that. And so this is one thing, this is a conversation we had earlier also. So I'll just have to go over covered ground. So this is a question for you, Kamalji. How do you design a portfolio career, one straddling multiple fields without internal conflict? Should one skill be treated foundational on which others are built? Kamalji.
Thank you, Prince, and thank you, SRM and Hindu, for having me today. I think I want to start by, because most of the people, I also saw some of the questions out there and there. So when we start a career, possibly we start with a particular foundation, right? You either pass out with finance, marketing, HR, engineering, right? You start with a particular space. And so the first 5 to 6 years, or maybe even a little more than that, goes into discovering yourself. Because when we grow up, in my view, we are told a lot of lies. Oh, follow your passion. You're good at this. Because the parents decide, the friends tell you, the relatives tell you you're good at something. And all those things are based on your aspiration. Until you get to work, you really don't know whether you're good at that. And when you work in a particular place, and remember, when we choose our first jobs, it's based on various considerations. What's the consideration? If we had an education loan, we want to ensure that it pays for servicing that loan. And many of us can afford to take loans today, so we take, right? So the choices are made around that as well. Or is it a good brand that I should join? Or is the role that, would actually suit my aspiration or capability? Like I said, is the money good enough? And I think very rarely at a younger age, we look at the people who are involved, the leadership team of an organization. So, and also the industry. Is this the industry that I should start with? So in all these things, the pressure of getting started, possibly on account of all these things together, we start a job. But really, when we start working, do we get to know whether we're really good at that? Because all the things that happened in college, that happened because somebody asked us to study in a particular lane, or we thought we were going to be good at this, and we chose that based on either aspiration or opportunity. But when you start working is when you really realize that, is it something that is up your alley? Is it your real strength? What is the strength? That means, can you really do it faster? Is this something that you do enjoying? And the people around you also think that is something that you can do well. And by the time you discover that, it possibly would take maybe a couple of employers or few years, because we also make choices, bad choices sometimes. So with all these things put together, to decide what you're good at, it would take few years. And when you talk about portfolio of career, Prince, one of the things that we also have to distinguish is it's a little romanticized today. Or if you have a portfolio of work, which mostly happens in the creative world today, it means multiple sources of income. You can work for yourself. You can work remote, which is possibly today the most romanticized part of it as well. And every day is different. This is what we tell people. But then for people who are passing out of college, it would take about 8 to 10 years to specialize in something. And that is the time you actually give yourself to, if you have studied finance and let's say you discovered you're not good at that, what would you do? So you had to shift somewhere else to figure out what is that next calling or the next strength that you possibly can bank upon. So by the time you complete this, I think you would take about 8 to 10 years to really become a specialist for which somebody else will pay for you, even if you work for yourself. Unless you are a polymath, you are a genius, and we know there are 1%, 2% of us who are really that genius that we discover it overnight, or we hit the ball out of the park in possibly in the first job itself. So my limited invitation to people who are listening to this today is, its portfolio of career can happen, but it can happen after you become a specialist over a period of time. It typically would take 5 to 10 years. Till that time, I think it's important to pick an area and go deep into it. If you're not successful or if you don't like it, you have to pick another area and go deep into it, because the opportunities are that many. At the same time, so is competition. There are 1 crore 7 lakh people who are passing out of higher educations in India, and we know that many amount of jobs are not there. And I heard Professor Vinay saying, entrepreneurship is an area to also explore. So in the competition that you have and the limited options you might have to start with, you have to go deeper, you have to experiment with yourself in the first 5 to 10 years. And that is when the portfolio of career may open to you.
Actually, and moreover, career is not just about skills, it's also about character. And character is forged only on the, maybe like, on a marathon, right? When you're in something for the long haul, you learn a lot of things, failures and all of that. Okay. Well said, Kamalji. Professor Deepa, this one is for you. So this is the season for internships. So what does an effective internship look like, particularly for students of humanities and sciences? Professor Deepa?
Yes, thank you so much, Prince. In fact, I want to answer this from where I sit, which is inside a classroom as a faculty, watching students prepare for a world they are not yet sure how it's going to shape up, what will happen when they enter. And the pattern I have observed most consistently is that students treat internships as performances. They go in to try to impress, try to be capable, try to leave with a good reference letter, uh, try to get validation. And in entirely this entire thing, they forget to actually pay attention, which is what internship is meant for. So your internship is not the brand on the offer letter. It's not the stipend. It's not the LinkedIn post afterward. It's the moment when you discover that everything you were taught, how to research, how to question, your curiosity, how to interpret human behavior, how to communicate complexity, everything has to be put to test. It's not just an academic exercise. It's about how you apply those learnings when you join an internship. It's a rare capability that the world genuinely needs today. And this is where our students forget. So specifically for students from the humanities and social sciences, the right internship is the one where your thinking is the job, not the same old shadowing, not the same old routine stuff. But are you getting the freedom to showcase your creativity? Are you able to communicate what you critically thought with clarity? Are you contributing something that would not exist without your particular training and your particular way of seeing? Because the moment you say humanities and sciences, and many of the experts, in fact, a couple of experts who talked before me have already said that the acceptance is not as it should be. So, as students of these courses, it becomes more a responsibility to show how you do things differently. You don't do different things, but you do even the same things differently because you bring the combination, the rare combination of tech and touch, where we're talking of the technology tech and we're talking about the human touch. So, how do you collaborate? How do you mix all these things? How you bring empathy into a strategy? How you start with culture before going on working on a strategy. So when you bring these nuances to the table, you differentiate. And in this entire process, you are able to gain self-knowledge. And as just now shared by Mr. Karant, that this will eventually help you build a portfolio career. So your purpose of an internship should not be those 2, 3, 4, 6 months. It has to be a spectrum. Where do I know? Where do I want to go after this? What would be on the horizon? How do I use my internship as a platform, as a launch pad for my larger career? So, in a sentence, I would say don't treat it as a performance, treat it as an opportunity where you can showcase your learning, where you can apply what you have learned, and also bring some clarity and critical thinking on the table.
Great, Professor. Great insight. But one thing, actually, assuming that the student is committed to getting the best out of the internship, most of the time we notice the majority of organizations just go through the paces. They just, okay, fine, you need a certificate. That is the attitude. I think there should be a change of heart there as well. Even corporates should also look at, the possibility of absorbing, these people, and they shouldn't see them as a person, as a wayfarer, but a person actually who probably would be a permanent resident. Maybe that should come from the corporates as well.
Yes, and I have seen that it's not easy to change the corporates, but wherever students have created an impact, they could convert the internship into a pre-placement offer.
Yeah, the right ones just invariably make a mark, and they're on board.
Yes. So in addition to the bright, like as in the intellect, it's also important how socially and culturally intelligent you are, right? Because even those end up getting
all of those
flying
intelligences matter. Yeah. Emotional intelligence and social intelligence.
True.
Thank you so much. And Dr. Doraisamy, this one is for you.
Yeah, please.
You can create mixing of major and minor courses whet a student's desire for learning and make them career ready while still in the classroom. So I'm now, this is an age when disciplines are combined. If you're doing literature, you're not just doing literature, you're doing something else. I want you to talk about some specific courses, that probably from your stable, SRM stable.
Thank you. Thank you, Prince, and thank you, the fellow participant, and good morning to all the participants here. See, now actually the interdisciplinary careers are the future. I can say myself as an example, even 40 years before that, I did my BSc Mathematics, but I didn't continue with that MSc Mathematics. I moved from BSc Mathematics to MSc Mathematical Economics because, economics should not be just learned. We should analytically, scientifically we got to analyze, and that can be done only with the help of mathematics. That kind of interdisciplinary only brought me here up to this level. I can boldly say that one. And now, with the help of this new educational policy, we had a great opportunity as SRMIST, and we have introduced a 4 years program. And we had a lot of combinations of this major, minor, and multidisciplinary course combinations. So earlier, if a student joined in BSc Mathematics, he will do all the credit only related to mathematics. But now it is not like that. If an undergraduate student can earn 120 credit, means 40 credits can be from the other disciplines, and only half of the credits can be from the same thing. So which means a student who joined for even a BA English literature can do a course in the minor in the Viscom, or a student join as a BSc Computer Science can do a course on English literature. So these kind of combinations are, because it goes along with the passion of that student, and as well as their interest and the goal and the different opportunities, all those things. A humanities graduate can think about different courses which will help them to opportunities in the industries, especially emerging industries like digital media or behavioral economics, cultural analysis. There are so many opportunities are there. And in Faculty of Science and Humanities, SRMIST, we have identified 19 minors, including entrepreneurship was one minor. Any student who join in undergraduate can think about one minor, which means 6 courses in the entrepreneurship. So while doing his undergraduate course, he can get to know about what is entrepreneurship and what are the difficulties are there. How do I convert my idea into product? All those things can be done. We have even innovation and incubation center. So the process is very easy if you move with the multidisciplinary approach rather than the that unique thing. And the other thing is also, a student may interested in photography, or he may interested in web designing, or he may interested in music, all those things. For that kind of thing, it was not available in the early days. But now with the new education policy, and we have given them an opportunity for around 60 different multidisciplinary courses, out of which they can choose 3 of their own interest. So it will divert them from the conventional thing, and they will feel happy that my life is going with my own interest, and along with my career, along with my studies also. So it cannot be a boring kind of a thing. It is very much interested, because they design their program. They design their undergraduate program. Oh, I have 50% of my credits will be earned from that my major, and the remaining 50% I can earn from that minor, not necessarily related thing. A diametrically opposite thing can also be taken. A student of psychology can take a course in computer science. So it will be very much useful into that one. Because nowadays, in the digital era, I think any subject needs some kind of a support from that digital platform. And that is the way I think it's going on. And Faculty of Science and Humanities, SRMIST, is clearly restructuring our curriculum and re-identifying our courses, so that a student who join as an undergraduate course, either it is a 3 years or 4 years, though it is a 4 years course, after 3 years, I think he can exit. He can move into the next thing also. So in that, I think this change is most welcome one, and most gates are open for these students who are interested to go into the science and humanities subject. Lot of opportunities are there. Lot of employment opportunities are there. If you go with this multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary major, minor, MDC combination into that one. And we at SRMIST has identified very clearly. For your information, we have started even a course on BS FinTech. It's very much connected with the exclusive finance and the technology. So the student, we have introduced both UG and PG. It has a very high demand. And internship is also very easy. So these kind of things are happening. And we even introduced BSc Defense and Strategic Studies. Okay, 3 minutes are there. I think I'll stop there, and next round I'll come back.
Thank you. Anyway,
Yeah.
so the thing is actually, so to just sum up what Dr. Doraisamy said, essentially an effective specialist today was once an avid and eager and curious generalist. You try out everything, test the waters. College education should be a time when you test the waters and see where your passion lies. Thank you so much.
It's not what is given to you. You can decide your program. That is a very
possible only if
a good change here.
Try out various things. I think you
Yes,
have
yes,
the space for that.
Yes.
And we successfully completed round 1, and now we're on to second round. We are doing well in the in a power play. Strike rate is good. So now this question, this first question in the second round goes to Professor Deepa. So this is it. One of the talk points we had chalked out ahead of the webinar is global opportunities versus local relevance. Can the versus be replaced by
I guess, Prince, there is some issue at your end, or is it at my end?
No, it's Prince.
Yeah. We are not able to hear you. I think there's some network issue.
Can global opportunities coexist with local relevance? Professor Deepa.
Okay. Thank you, Prince.
Repeat the question. Sorry. One of the top points.
We could not hear you.
Now?
Yeah.
You can hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, no, basically, I asked, one of the points that we put down, for this webinar was global opportunities versus local relevance. I just asked, can the versus be replaced with and the two coexist?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Essentially, global opportunities coexisting with. Hello?
Maybe
you heard the question, Professor Deepa?
Yes, I got it.
Professor Deepa,
no, I got it. I got it. So let us start with, as you rightly said, busting a myth that you must choose between doing globally relevant and locally rooted things. Well, going global does not mean leaving behind where you come from. Going local does not mean limiting your ambition. So the present doesn't talk about versus. The present doesn't ask you to choose. It wants both. And that is the need of the hour. Capital moves across borders within seconds. Products reach billion people overnight. But here is what has not changed and will not change. People are still local. Communities are still local. Trust is still local. Technology can reach anyone, but it cannot understand everyone. And that gap between reach and understanding is where your education becomes a valuable asset. So it's not about global versus local. It's about how do we coexist. Humanities and social sciences typically train students to do something no dashboard can produce. Interpret why people behave the way they do, not just what they clicked, why they hesitated to click, not just what they bought. What is it that they did not buy? What is it that they are not looking for? And say, for example, a student from India who has grown up navigating all the complexities, the consumer behavior, the multiplicity, and every contradiction that they have seen around. They bring something to the global table that cannot be imported, right? And in a world that is copying products instantly, that one thing which cannot be replicated is the genuine human understanding. So that's where it's a competitive advantage. The moment we try to bring this together, the moment we try to bridge the gap between reach and understanding, the difference between global and local will vanish, because it needs to coexist. How do you bring the local flavor to the global world is where the magic lies. And again, going back to what I said earlier, your cultural intelligence, which may begin with some cultural sensitivity training. However, it doesn't stop there. Are you further going on to improve your cultural quotient, your intelligence, which talks about cognitive, metacognitive, and other things, motivation and application? Are you really doing that? Or are you just happy with a few workshops? So it all begins with one's own motivation on taking the global to the local and vice versa, and that's where the word glocal is very, very famous now. I rest my case.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor Deepa. Now over to Professor Vinay. We could clearly see humanities-based skill sets coming to the fore in the digital economy. Are enrollments in humanities courses back to a healthy level, Professor Vinay?
Well, actually, the enrollments are quite encouraging. In fact, suddenly there is a shift. The excessive emphasis on engineering for a very long time. Suddenly that reduced because as people started seeing alternate careers, even parents started encouraging student their wards to get into other courses other than engineering. So that shift has already happened. And the basically, humanities, we are in the process of discovering what should be the best curriculum design, so that you sort of train the youngsters to have the type of skills that are needed now. The one of the strengths of humanities is you develop there is already this component of emotional intelligence and also communicativeness, and the soft skills part is already taken care in a certain way, and that is the good part. The When you have the type of major minor combinations that we have designed, now you have the opportunity a humanities student actually taking up a minor which is a serious science based minor, and you now you can combine your soft skills with really hard skills in a rough sense. So typically uh, we see that people who are very communicative and people who have the ability to actually deal with ambiguity and come up with deal with stressful situations are the people who actually graduate and become leaders. And this was there earlier, this is going to be the case in the future too. The multidisciplinary approach to education brings that onto the table in a very formal sense. In other words, you can actually train people while they are pursuing their undergraduation to, think through several hats, multiple thinking hats. Okay. And that type of a training, see, an accountant is very precise, and any accountant will develop the skill of, paying attention to details. But an accountant can never take risk because conservatism is taught in the course. Na? So when you take entrepreneurship along with accountancy, you will see that there is a systematic way of actually taking risk. When you develop both of these thinking capabilities, you're much better off to actually solve problems in a different way. So I think that is what is the key thing. And people are now seeing career pathways emerging, and parents also have developed that appreciation, and therefore don't see actually. I mean, there is a lot of churn in some courses, but there is a sustained demand for students in humanities.
And one thing in this world, where AI is taking over everything, actually, if you really look at it, it's challenging us to be more human, as in, kind of play to our strengths and all that. Now, in this world, I think that's how we make a mark, by being what only we can be. So, and that's where humanities comes in. Thank you, Professor Vinay. Kamalji, this is for you. Kamalji, this is for you. Are we living in times when gig work is coming into its own? If so, what are the factors driving it? Is Gen Z mindset providing motive power to it?
The answer, Prince, to that would be a yes and no. Yes, because most of us aspire to be freelancers. And that's why there is a lot of buzz about, okay, I want to be a
Being your own
freelancer.
boss.
Yeah, so that's where it started from the portfolio of careers. But remember, when you talk to the people who've been in freelancing for a while, they also think there is not a steady income, right?
Okay.
So there are two sides to the story. Some of us romanticize about some of them who possibly are well experienced. If you look at the economy impact of the freelancers, very high. Globally reported 1.5 trillion worth of dollars worth of economy is run by freelancers today, and it's especially in America, where almost half the working population, they say, by next year end will be freelancers.
Okay.
But then, we are not America. If you look at India, we're talking about 1 to 2% of people who are actually freelancers. If you exclude the Uber drivers and the Swiggy, delivery guys who are coming in. So if you take them away, because we know that some of these platform workers are truly not freelancers. They're working full time for a platform called as gig workers, right? So, but by choice, if you ask anybody in India, if you look at the average age of people who are freelancers, on an average, 60% of them are less than 30 years of age. Whereas in US, its average age is about 38 years. And so is the income disparity. But when you look at the data put out by Upwork and Fiverr, which are the two leading freelancers, almost you look at about crore of people work for these platforms are actually from India. So the technology work that people do, the content, the design work that is done, marketing design that's done out of India. So that is where we are able to contribute to the freelancers of the world. But if you look at India per se, see, if you look at the creative world that we are in, freelancing has been there for the longest time. The platform-based creative work,
by default, they are freelancers. Creative world, I
yeah,
think
they're always been like that.
Right.
Solopreneurs who actually, let's say, will go and work with the larger enterprises, and they've always been doing that. But the platform-based gig work is something that, as you know, is almost a $7.5 billion industry in US today, and they think it will almost double in the next 3 years. So that is a different world, and that is what we're plugging into from countries from India in the world of remote. So that is where I said, look, there are almost a crore and a half Indians who are working in this, and 60% of them are less than 30 years of age. And your question of, is Gen Z doing that? Yeah, I think people who are technologically savvy are able to get, the marketing gigs better, they're more specialized, are able to put work out there. So in a way, it's yes. But if you come to the Indian context, ask anybody who would like to be a freelancer, maybe all of us would like to. But would you like to actually go and be a freelance? Being freelancer in India is almost like being an entrepreneur. You have to go and ask for work as well, to follow up for payments and things like that. So I think that we have a very hunky-dory picture of being a freelancer, but unless, enterprise level, freelancing is an in thing. It's going to take a while in India for that to pick up.
It's actually ironical sometimes with this cab, driver would tell you, kind of, whenever I just want to work, I can work and all that. I'll switch off and just go take a nap. But actually, really just probe, deeper and all that. This guy would have just left his house in the morning and then go back late in the evening. Maybe between that, he can probably just call the shots, like, switch off the app and all that. The fact remains that he's working longer. He's away from home longer. Dr. Durisamy, and we have come to the end of round 2. And so I just want you to play prophet. I mean, I want you to give a prediction kind of a thing. Give us a pick of 3 unconventional courses that will take center stage in the years to come. Why could one bet one's life on them?
Yeah, that's what I see. Nowadays, the programs are not designed by the institution. Actually, the society, the time and trend is forcing us to design the program and the curriculum into that. For example, we introduced a program on cybersecurity, which was very much needed into that. And now we have introduced a program on fintech. We didn't think about it in the 5 years, 6 years back, but now it is a need of the hour. So this bringing that financial and technology so that BS fintech is take more takers. And another thing is also, you said that, you will give an example of cricket. So yesterday, the news says 50 crore people are seeing this IPL match, which is 3 years. So which means there is a market for the 50 crore people is there. So you can do whatever connected into all those things. See, in relation to this, we thought about introducing a course on BCom Business Analytics. So every company needs an analytics to understand about their past and what it can be the future. And in this digital era, as you mentioned, the Gen Z, this psychology is coming into the front line, actually, so that we thought about introducing BS behavioral psychology. Yeah, because that is very much needed. And so a lot of, the counseling and the counselors are needed into that one. So there is a high demand for those kind of things. And even the existing programs also have to be reorganized or restructured. So we had earlier, the BSc Computer Science, but it is not like that. Now we have to add that AML into that one, and full stack development, applied data science, so much of things like this. And not conventional things like, the BSc Defense and Strategic Studies. We never thought about these kind of courses, but now there is a lot of demand for these kind of courses into that one. And so the time and the trend and what the society is expecting at tells the institutions like SRM to design the program like that. And we have gone into the that kind of things, and new educational policy that help us into this. And again, I give the stress that this combination of interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary is very much needed. And hereafter, I think that is going to rule this thing. And science students are not going to be only with the lab. It is non-laboratory opportunities are so much. And humanities graduates, again, are not going to be only teachers. They are going to be, the significant positions in various industries into that one. So I feel that these interdisciplinary careers are the future. And also, continuous learning is very much important. It's not like, no, I have done this one, that is enough. No, it is not that. So a continuous learning process and continuous career building is there. That is not possible with one discipline, and there is a need for understanding the different aspect of it. And I think this particular webinar will take that into that to the participant. Thank you.
Actually, education should match steps with what is happening around the world. Like, how about climate science? Is it gaining ground as a?
Yeah. Obviously, we are connecting that in the multidisciplinary courses. We have around 4 or 5 papers related to that. The environmental science is always there as a mandatory paper in every UGC discipline. And we also thought about, introducing some courses in biotechnology. We have introduced even biomedical science that captures a little bit of those things. And in future, I think we are thinking about the sustainable development, where it can capture all this the disturbances like climate condition change and all those stuff into that one.
I think we already have a new program in sustainability by
Yes.
physics department.
Yes.
We have come up with a new program which will deal with climate as a one of the key this thing, and there are many courses on climate too. But sustainability has become a sort of a general issue that way in most many courses,
And recently, I was surprised to learn that there's an MA, course in corporate social responsibility. I mean, that was an eye-opener for me. And I could understand why, because youngsters today, they are so into volunteering, kind of
Prince, actually, we have this MSW, Master of Social Work, in which I think we have 2-3 courses related to that, because how corporates are connected with the society through this kind of NGOs and all those things, how it is being, they're part of that building up of the society and all those things. In our MSW course, I think we have incorporated all those things.
Interesting. We've come to the end of, the panel discussion with the experts. Now, I think we can open the floodgates of questions from the participants. Is that fine? Priya, can we go ahead?
Sure.
Yep. So we can entertain questions. There are questions here. So I'll get some of them. Does she have any other career options? Want to go and... Okay, here's one question. I would want Professor Vinay to take this. Want to go for IIMC? So please guide which UG course is better, BBA or BTech, and from which tier, city, 1, 2, 3. And oh my God, this is Gen Z lingo. It's all contractions and all that. I think it beats me, but from whatever I could see, this is what it is. I mean, it is Supreet Ulge, and wants to know where I want to go, which UG course to take, whether it's BA or BTech. Wants to do IIM Calcutta, I think.
So right now, I think some of the IIMs started offering undergrad courses like BBA, and each of these programs are quite different in the sense that one needs to be very careful when they are actually seeing the curriculum, because the curriculums are designed with a different perspective, and even though they may sound that it is BBA, but the components, the course components are quite different. If somebody's aptitude is in, if you want to be a manager, I think you should get into management studies. BBA should be your choice. If you are excited to get into, managing things, and it is neither science nor art. It is highly a context-based. How do you develop yourself so that you deal with the context? The context itself could be very ambiguous, and if you're game for that, you should take a structured program that trains you into becoming a manager. So BBA would be right. But if you want to be a technocrat, and if you want to basically innovate and come up with patents and sort of be excited with designing products, so engineering should be your choice. So in other words, your innate aptitude is something that you have to discover when you choose the course. Obviously, you can always, it is better to choose a multidisciplinary course, because that will give you, multiple career pathways.
Oh, nicely put, Professor Vinay. This question is from Bala Mundu Kuruva, and he says, I have completed MA in Political Science from IGNOU. I'm looking for a job. And he wants to be advised what is the
May I?
Hello, can you hear me? Sorry. No, there's some problem here. 1 minute. I'm just trying to fix it. Yeah.
So he can think of writing, the NET exam, JRF exam, and he can qualify for the lecturership, and or he can join for PhD. Then he can, if you want to continue with want to become a lecturer, that is the way. Otherwise, you can think about some kind of an analysis, political analysis, or something in that. But he can do something related to data analysis. That will help him in a lot of this election result analysis or prediction.
Yeah, that's what we Okay. Any particular course in data analytics?
We have now. There are so many courses, but since he has already done MA in political science, he can do some kind of diploma in data science, something like that.
Okay. And here's one more student. Actually, I'm a student of IIT Patna with a background in data science. I'm confused between pursuing an MA in PSIR or law after graduation. Which path would offer better long-term opportunities in policy, governance, and public leadership? Either Dr. Doreswamy or Professor Vinay can take this.
Well, actually, we have a public policy course. If he's interested in policy and working for, think tanks or NGOs or any corporate that is interested in, corporate, wherever you have to interact with government. There are many opportunities there. Even companies look for people who have talent to deal with government agencies. So he can think about a public policy course, and there are many. Even IIT Kanpur is offering a public policy course. So I think you can choose among these programs.
Okay, great. Professor Deepa, this one is for you. This is from Chandrasekhar. Is there a chance that AI can replace the internships and jobs in humanities? I think you can take the internships part. I don't know what you mean.
So AI will replace repetitive jobs, not the creativity, critical thinking, and wherever human interventions are required, because human beings created AI. And so eventually you have to be the ruler. The maid cannot be bigger than the maker. So when you have that kind of confidence that no matter what AI tool comes, whatever comes, what I bring to the table is something which probably will be replaced by AI maybe a couple of decades later. And then human abilities, human cognitive skills will evolve further. So we always will have an upper hand. Even when computer came, people got panicked. But then eventually new roles came out of it, new profiles were developed. So typically AI will not replace. AI is not here to replace, it is here to complement what we are doing. And the repetitive things, the routine mundane things can be taken care of. Even the data analysis can be taken care of. However, how to make sense of what the analysis has been done by AI will be the human cognitive. And we are here to stay because it is the way I use AI vis-a-vis somebody else will decide, will be the game changer, in fact. So it's not about replacement. So the very fact that people are getting skeptical, that has to be seen from a different angle. every new thing that comes into existence brings such threats and skepticism, but then we have evolved. We have survived, not just survived, but sustained very, very successfully. This is another invention which is there to help us. And the moment we realize this, we find it becomes a friend, whether it is in teaching, in the classroom, as a learner, as a teacher, in research, in doing a lot of things which otherwise took a long time. So yes, it has made things convenient and faster for us. Look at it from that angle. It's not here to replace human beings.
Great. And there's
Yeah.
this question. I would like to know your opinion on the PG options in sociology versus public administration for somebody who likes to work in the public sector. It essentially says whether should go for PG in sociology or public administration and wants to work in the public sector. This can be taken by Vinay, Professor Vinay.
Actually, both will be okay in the sense that even if you go for post-graduation public administration, or a public policy course is, I think, a much better option because it encompasses management, policy, law, and a whole lot of other things, even sociology included. So it's like a much broader, course. But sociology and public administration, either of them are okay for a job in public sector. It is fine. I would rather advise for a public policy course rather than the old time. These are like traditional courses. Public administration, sociology were traditional courses. Now you have a much better package in terms of training yourself if you want to be in the public sector.
Nice, Professor Vinay. And I am in 12th standard now looking. Does SRM offer this combination? Either Professor Vinay or
Which combination?
Dr.
Which combination?
I am in 12th standard now looking for opportunities in economics and psychology combined. Does SRM offer this combination?
Yes. Either the student can join as a BSc economics. We in SRM, the first of it in Tamil Nadu, we started the BSc economics, which brings the combination of economic theory, computer science, and mathematics and statistics. And after taking this BSc economics, the candidate can join minor in psychology, or he or she can join in BSc psychology and take minor in economics. It's a good combination is possible. And in fact, as I told you earlier, now this year we are starting BS behavioral psychology, which is more of related to this media related one and the geopolitics and a kind of the business related one. That is a new emerging area where so that that candidate can think about that BS behavioral psychology.
Great. Mr. Kamal, actually, I think this one, you should take this one. There is somebody who's actually a PhD scholar, Jay Tivya, PhD scholar in English literature. What can you do to further, what can I do to further update my skill because the pay scale of English professor is low? Maybe you can suggest some unconventional career options for Jay based on, their education, which is currently pursuing PhD in English literature, but doesn't want to continue on that path, wants to get out of teaching. Or
Kamal sir, would you like to add or may?
Kamal sir?
Please go ahead.
Is it a PG or PhD?
PhD, scholar in English literature,
PhD, he completed
but doesn't want to
PhD.
continue down the path, considering that the pay scale of English professor is low. Wants to try out something else.
No,
I can take this.
Please.
Yeah, because I have the lived experience of doing a PhD in English literature and language teaching, so I couldn't stop myself. Yeah, so the answer to this question is, if you have already done English or pursuing English literature PhD, don't stop there. One, don't limit yourself to literature and language, because even in management education, and we have a couple of colleagues, Professor Vinay and Professor Duraiswamy, talking about how it can be multidisciplinary going further. So even though you have a specialized knowledge in English literature and language, how do you apply that knowledge to management teaching? How do you apply to teaching the concepts in management through literature and language? So there are, with such courses where there is cross-disciplinary role in function, we ourselves have a course on MBA in liberal studies and management, where we have courses like readings in literature. So where we bring concepts, where we bring classics from English literature, and the students learn how to apply those at the workplace. Because typically, see, what is literature? Largely psychology. So when you're learning psychology, when you're learning communication, when you're learning the choice of words, the voice modulation, the tone, what is Shakespeare? Right? They're talking about the tone and the voice modulation, whether it's the Indian classics, the classics in the West, they all bring nuances of human behavior, which is an important part of mostly management functions. And management function is no more a part of corporate culture now. Everywhere we are managing. If not anyone else, we are managing ourselves. So now you should look at how to spread your wings through the application of what you're learning, rather than focusing becoming an English professor, because you don't find it lucrative according to the remuneration. Well, that is partly true. In fact, if you can embellish yourself with the multidisciplinary lens, you will find you are the best combination, because what you bring to the table is innate capability of understanding reading between the lines, understanding intention. So you're able to listen not just with your ears, but with your eyes. You're able to listen to the unsaid, the non-verbal, and that translates into communication. So I think there's a lot of scope. You need to get more updated, and the sky is the limit for you.
Literature prepares you for life. In fact, Hindu has got a marquee literary festival event where this idea is embedded in the title itself, Writ for Life.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
As a literature student myself, I can't agree with you more on how it equips you for life.
It does.
Thank you, Professor Deepa. And maybe I think we can take a few more questions. But it's just that I'm finding it very difficult to decipher the lingo. It's all Gen Z. Can sustainability truly exist within a model of continuous economic growth? Or is there an inherent contradiction between the two? Professor Deepa, I think you can take this.
Please come again.
Can sustainability truly exist within a model of continuous economic growth? Or is there an inherent contradiction between the two?
Well, it has become a thread of existence in the business world. Now, you can't say it is a function of one. It has to be embedded in the very DNA of every organization, whether it is organizational functions. We come to academic institutions, every other course has to have a thread of sustainability, because we are headed towards a planet where if we don't do now or don't do something now, we are doomed. What we are leaving for our generations to come is what is to be decided now. And sustainability cannot be a standalone function. In fact, the moment you talk about sustainability, it's about small little nuances that you pay attention to in your daily life. So the answer is no, it cannot be isolated. It has to be the DNA of everything that you do.
I think I'll add to this. I think it's a good question, and there is a contradiction. I mean, there is undoubtedly sustainability comes at a cost, and growth has whenever you talk about growth, the growth the is going to happen, and if you can increase the growth of anything if the costs reduce. So all sustainability endeavors have cost. But one of the things that you should understand is the sustainability debate has brought about the constraints to growth, in the sense that you what you can grow now, you can't do that over a period of time. Let's say if you want to grow like this forever, you can't possibly due to climate, a whole lot of other things. So that's why these costs, even though you can avoid now, you may not be in a position to avoid later. So in other words, these are like timing issues. So now, since there is appreciation, these costs have to be incurred by businesses, society at large, but you have technology on your side. So therefore, in other words, the whole landscape is going to change. You will develop appreciation for climate and other sustainability, environment-related issues. Then now you start actually solving the problems through technology in a different way. So I think it is opening up many opportunities, and it is, but even though it looks apparently contradictory now, but it is not going to be a contradictory thing as we go along, because when these costs become quite real, the businesses cannot function. So therefore, it is better to invest in technologies that address the climate and environment issues now.
Yeah, so the economic growth, economic growth model has to be rethought, because when you are on your drawing board, you need to factor sustainability. It's not an option anymore. It might not be financially viable. It might not give a lot of money in the short run, but eventually that is where we are headed. So it has to be a part of your economic growth decisions.
Yeah, actually, when you're just looking at the cost of sustainability versus quick growth, the best example is plastic. It's a Frankenstein monster that we created. We created it long ago for a reason, because it was making things easier for us, cost effective. But now that we've seen what it can do, we can't unsee what we've seen. We need to kind of, even if it's very expensive, cost intensive, we need to go in for green. We need to go in for green measures, because we know what can just come from that monster.
Yeah.
One example. Here's one question, and Asia BK, coming from a political science background and also having experience in full stack development, what career paths would you recommend where both domains can be effectively utilized? This can be taken by either Professor Vinay or
or maybe I think he can think about a lot of the public policy related thing, diplomacy related aspects, and a lot of things are happening like research. Also, he can go into that one. And now with the digital era, there are a lot of connecting jobs are available, and you have to pick up and then develop a skill in that one, and then I think he can move into that. That is the way I think he goes to politics. Again, stick on to that political scene alone, it will not be enough into that. And going to that, please.
So we have, more and more technology interventions in digital governance. And a lot of governance is now going to shift into the digital space. Like a lot of products are now getting digitized in the sense that physical things can be experienced through a digital platform. So a policy can also be experienced through a digital platform. No? So therefore, your full stack development skills will be needed for digital governance kind of, So if a company is aiding digital governance, then you can get a career in that company because you have both public policy, you have a public political science background, and also you have a fair understanding about technologies with regard to full stack. So there's always going to be opportunities for you.
There's another interesting question. This is from Kumarappan M. He wants to know, shall we combine MBBS with entrepreneurship?
It's already combined.
Already combined, I know that.
So in other words, I'll tell you one of our the director who heads our entrepreneurship innovation directorate is a doctor. Is actually a and he's heading the entrepreneurship division, and he's actually trying to make sure that patents become products. So if doctors have the aptitude of taking risk, and this thinking is something that they are evaluating as a skill set, why not? I mean, every doctor can become an entrepreneur, and it is possible.
Okay.
And one thing, Prince, in that matter, I think we have even changed our eligibility to join for that UG programs. So earlier, if you want to join BCom, you must have at least commerce in the undergrad, in your +2. But now we have opened up everything. Now any +2 student can join in any of our UG programs, and we will have some, the bridge courses kind of a things. So that opens a lot of opportunity for our youngsters to choose, the big chunk of programs into that.
Essentially extends the window for students to make a decision, because like
a BTech completed student can join for MS FinTech. It has already happened. And you're most welcome. Even doctors can also think about to join a program in the post-graduation. Now, we don't have any restriction on that.
Okay. This question borders on the philosophical. This is from an attendee who wants to stay anonymous. When do we decide it is time for change? Let's say my graduation is from engineering. What are the factors and the range in each factor beyond which I need to decide and quit and switch to another field? Given the fact that it takes time to put ourselves into perspective with the new reality. I mean,
generally the answer is simple. Actually, pivoting is always now. So you want to change, you got to change it now. There's no other time. Okay. This is the, so it is not. It's not if your aptitude is something, and you have a passion to do something, your past should not be overhanging your present, and you should basically take a call. And now is the time to change.
I think it's about resetting, kind of, in fact, people were talking about this speed as a decisive factor for success and all that. But if we really look at it actually now, kind of, when we just see what's happening around us, I think those who are able to reset themselves quickly, are the ones, kind of who make it, I guess.
Absolutely.
Priya, how much more time do we have? Priya?
I think we were told up to 12:30. We were told up to 12:30.
Short the time by, I think, 15 minutes. just to sum up this thing, I'll just, put it down in one sentence. I just wish, I attended a webinar like this in the 1990s when I was a student. So that would have, when, that certainly would have probably opened new pathways. Anyway, I'm absolutely happy with the path I took. But then probably I would have probably just taken a few other pathways and all that, exciting pathways anyway. So I wish, it was really nice, enlightening. A lot of interesting ideas were thrown up and all that. I wish all the attendees also benefited from this. Thank you so much. Thanks, all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting, Prince.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Prince. Thank you.
Bye.